We are all about facts, not fear, and we want to keep you and your loved ones safe with good information. So joining us is the reliable, the wonderful, the brilliant Dr. Kohli in like a beautiful hunter green. How refreshing. You're like a piece of gum. For Fact or Fiction Friday, viewers have sent in claims, Doc, that they've seen online about the ongoing pandemic, and you are here to let us know whether those are fact or fiction. Our first one is about inside air conditioning ventilation systems. Now, they have little or no effect on the virus. Is this true or not true?
Tori, this is not true. This is a fiction. In fact, what we're learning is that ventilation systems are playing an extremely important role in the indoor transmission of the virus, particularly because we're realizing that it's not just those droplets, it's those aerosols that we talked about earlier this week that can actually get into the ventilation system, that the ventilation system can actually push around. So the CDC has actually released guidelines to advise offices and other indoor spaces on how to improve their ventilation. So the first is to actually dilute the indoor air with outdoor air. And they want you to dilute it by 100%, which means let in as much air from outside as there is inside. So if you guys had a window in the studio, I would tell you to go open the window right now, because that is the easiest way. Yeah, your fake window, you can open that too. But
that's the quickest way.
But if you had a real window, that would be more effective. That would certainly be more effective.
Wow.
Well, and so the second way is to actually put in, the second way is to put in air purifiers, air filters, and exhaust fans. Now, these need to be done by professionals because they need to be installed correctly. And there is no hard science about these technologies, but we do think that they're probably going to be effective. Wow. And then the last way is to use something called UV germicidal irradiation. So you're using UV light to actually treat the air that's going through the filtration system. But I do want to make one point, which is that don't use those regular table fans or the floor fans. Don't turn those on as a way to improve the ventilation, because what you're actually doing is pushing air and pushing the droplets into the room. What you want is an exhaust fan that pulls the air out of the room so that it's pulling out those droplets.
Good to know.
Okay. Well, Dr. Kohli, let's get another fact or fiction, because as the number of cases of coronavirus increase, the fatality rate is expected to increase. Is that fact or fiction?
This, Erica, is fiction. This is actually a tricky one because you would think it would be fact. As the number of cases increase, we actually end up diagnosing more people that are asymptomatic because we pick up more of those asymptomatic cases as we're doing more testing. So the case fatality ratio, which is actually the total number of people who die over the people that got diagnosed, actually goes down. But the total number of fatalities actually goes up. So we have more deaths, but the percentage of people that are dying is actually lower. So it looks like we're doing better with the disease than we're actually doing. And overall, more people are dying. It's just a math trick, basically, that confuses us.
That's why you went to MIT and I did not. Our last one says, the emotional, financial, and psychological stress of the pandemic has led to an increase in broken heart syndrome. Is this fact or fiction?
This, you guys, is a fact. So there is a condition called broken heart syndrome, believe it or not. And it's not just what happens after you have a bad breakup. It is actually a medical condition called stress cardiomyopathy, or Takotsubo's cardiomyopathy. And what it is that when you're under tremendous emotional, physical, or psychological stress, your brain releases stress hormones that can actually paralyze or partially weaken the heart muscle. And it can actually be a pretty severe condition, And what we're seeing from a study released yesterday in the Journal of the American Medical Association is that the rate of broken heart syndrome has increased nearly 5-fold as a result of this pandemic, and I personally believe as a result of the recent racial tensions that have been out there. And believe it or not, women are actually more susceptible to this condition than men are. So ladies, be careful, keep your stress in check, because this can affect our heart.
I got my mom actually working out twice a week, even from a chair, just to get the heart healthier. But I got to work on myself because I'm stressing out.
You do need to work on yourself.
I need to work on myself.
Honestly, Dr. Kohli, you need to have a talk with this girl.
And I'm going to be doing my Tai Chi, but I'll call you later today because I think I'm feeling a lot of it, and I appreciate you. Thank you for telling us fact or fiction.
I'll be waiting.
Thank you. She actually does call me.
Good.
Thank you, doctor. You will be back next week. If you have a question about coronavirus you want answered by the doc, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com.